And welcome in. Let's take a quick look at the three things you'll need to know right now. The eye of Ian has not made landfall quite yet. It's getting close. It's still hovering off the coast of southwest Florida. We are expecting Governor Ron DeSantis to give another update from Tallahassee at about 7:30 this morning.
JEA also having a press conference at 8 a.m. We'll have both of those live on air and online.
Well, welcome in. You're watching Good Morning Jacksonville on this Wednesday morning, September 28th. I'm Keitha Nelson.
And I'm Katie Jeffries. Thank you so much for waking up with us. The storm already impacting an area hundreds of miles wide. We do have a live look out of Tampa this morning, and you can see some of the rain coming down there. This is near the far north edge of the storm surge warnings for the West Coast.
And this is the far south edge of Florida in Key West. The distance between the two locations over 200 miles. We want to send things over now to meteorologist Mike Prangley, who is standing by. Mike, we've got a lot of updates coming in, and folks are just now joining us at 6:30 this.
Right. Hey, thanks for putting your trust in us and our team. Your family to us. You know, we went through this before. We've been through Irma together, Matthew, and now, yes, here we go again. And unfortunately, we take a look at the hurricane hunters flying in this morning. They've found falling pressure, so it looks like a Category 4 hurricane making landfall in southwest Florida. Right now, you can see, unfortunately, just devastating damage likely and flooding with that storm surge up near 12 feet to 15 feet as it makes a move along the coast. And the big change is things are speeding up, okay? So it looks like the landfall would be this morning and around noon, and then it will continue to move off to the northeast. So it looks like areas hardest hit would again be toward the Interstate 4 corridor by the time it moves in our direction, which is quicker, okay? So we're talking about off the coastline as we go into later tomorrow and tomorrow night. We'll see tropical storm force conditions and flooding once again as our main threat, especially at the time of high tide. And that first high tide to watch for that flooding, for the street flooding, like we saw with Irma, not quite as high, okay, about 2 feet less, but watching for that street flooding in areas like San Marco, Riverside, St. Augustine around midnight tonight. We got to be ready, okay? We take a look at the latest. We know about the enormous storm now, 53 miles. The hurricane is now from the southwest Florida coast and the Fort Myers area. For us, we're watching some light showers this morning, mainly south of St. Augustine. This will spread north through the day, and by this afternoon, heavy rain likely, and the wind will start to pick up with the worst of the weather coming in this evening through late tomorrow evening. Gusts to 60, storm surge of 4 feet. 4 to 8 inches of rainfall for Duval. We'll have the rest of your counties coming right up.
Thanks for that, Mike. And mandatory evacuation orders are now in effect in portions of St. Johns County, including the entire city of St. Augustine.
We have extensive team coverage across the First Coast, and we want to begin live with our Lewis Turner. He is anchoring our coverage from St. Augustine.
Thank you, Katie and Keith. The wind's about as heavy as we've seen so far this morning, and I know this is just the beginning. And in fact, we're on the very leading edge. I know Mike had been showing us some radar locally, and we're very on that extreme leading edge of what will be the first rain band of several steady rain bands through the next 48 hours going into Friday. So kind of the beginning here as rain has begun in earnest for the city of St. Augustine, which, by the way, tropical storm warning, as Mike and Robert have mentioned this morning, doubling down on the emphasis that we are in that mandatory evacuation as of right now for the last half hour. No major official presence here along the bayfront right now, meaning no authorities coming in and telling folks to leave, telling folks. We've seen folks walking, we've seen folks jogging this morning, but that's going to be coming to an end pretty rapidly. The only work right now will be the work of sandbagging, the last-minute preps, truly last-minute preps of folks trying to get some plywood on windows. We know which will happen at Harry's restaurant, at least, which is right on the water. With a 3 to 5 foot surge, well, the question will be, will that be enough at the various high tides over the next couple of days and evenings to breach that seawall and truly inundate downtown St. Augustine? That's why we're here, and that's what we'll be watching for, as we do have high ground. Let's check in now with Renata. As we mentioned, the evacuation's underway. She's stationed on Highway 1 out of St. Augustine right now for a look there. Renata, good morning.
Good morning, Lou. Yes, we are right at the intersection US 1 and State Road 16, and you can see this is a look at the traffic. It's been pretty steady, going back and forth whenever there are stoplights. Of course, more will build up. Some people seem to be coming into town, but as we've been telling you all morning, because we've been driving around, lots of people in the Davis Shores area, just their cars on the residential streets, and a lot of motels and hotel parking lots look like this. They're still pretty filled up, though many businesses do have those sandbags boarding up the doors. But many people over in Davis Shores have been telling us some are, yes, traumatized from Irma when they were dealing with that major flooding. Others, not so much. They say they're just gonna stay and tough it out and see how everything goes. But the evacuation zone that we are in right now is one where people were supposed to be gone 35 minutes ago. And it is evacuation zone A, also B, and part of F. That is actually the entire city of St. Augustine, includes St. Augustine Beach and some other low-lying coastal areas as well. But we're gonna hear from some of the people who we've been talking to who either gonna tough it out or are gonna evacuate.
And we had custom panels made to protect the inner workings of the wastewater treatment plant. So that's being deployed as we speak. Deployed a Tiger Dam. That's new, that we're going to see how that works through the storm. And it's made to be like a portable seawall, basically. And it gives us 24 inches of added protection.
These are all changes they've been working on to try to stop that flooding, and they're hoping that it will work this time. This will really put it to the test. The number of people who could be evacuating or basically on the list, population-wise, is actually 20% more in the county than it was back when Irma was happening. It's more than 20,000 people, but I would not say that that is what the traffic is looking like. Lou?
Renata, thanks. You know, speaking of traffic, here with the Bridge of Lions behind me, the Matanzas River, the Intracoastal Waterway, the traffic on the water we've already seen this morning with one raising of the Bridge of Lions just about 15 minutes ago, a shrimp boat coming in, and it had been waiting actually just out. A lot of shrimp boats, as you'll see downtown Jacksonville, coming in from Mayport, where they're a little less exposed on the river downtown Jacksonville. Well, same story here, shrimp boats coming in, many from offshore doing their shrimping into some areas, some marinas closer in. So things that are just signs, right, that we see here along the first coast of impending storms. Let's get over to Leah now, another area just across the St. Johns River in Clay County. Leah Shields joining us now, where there will be evacuations a little later there as well. Leah, good morning.
Good morning. We are at Whitey's Fish Camp since you last saw me, through the baseball cap on. Wind is starting to pick up. When you look at this direction, you actually see this American flag just whipping in the wind. So starting to get a little bit of that movement. Still dry here though. And over beyond this, I want to show you, right next to Whitey's Fish Camp, there's an RV park here, and we are in one of the evacuation zones. So zone A, B, and C, which is basically anything near the water here in Clay County, near St. Johns River, near Doctors Lake, which we are near right now, and especially near Black Creek as well. We should have some video, and if you see this is of Hurricane Irma when it came through Clay County. So the people here, they know what flooding looks like. They had to rebuild. Some people, it took 9 months to even just fix the problems, the damage in their homes, and they really don't want to see this happen.
They stock up on water and typically have a generator, because I really don't want to go through that again, to be honest. I mean, that was a bad situation.
And while it's still dry here in Clay County, you have a few more hours until that evacuation order, which begins at noon. But sandbags, all those 5 locations around the county, those open up at 8 a.m. So you do have some time to get moving, get those last minute preps done. All right, let's send things back to the Weather Center with meteorologist Robert Spetta.
All right, so based on my experience, first storm here with you guys at First Coast News, I've covered plenty of super typhoons around the world, the Western Pacific, and when storms intensify rapidly prior to landfall, it often means just more energy coming at shore. The hurricane hunters just found a storm pressure 935 millibars. National Hurricane Center just dinged us a few moments ago. This has winds of 155 miles per hour in the center of this storm. That is only 2 miles shy of a Category 5 hurricane. This is rapidly intensifying. That doesn't change our forecast here on the First Coast, guys. But for our friends, I can't stress this enough. Our friends out here in Fort Myers, Naples, do hope everybody evacuated ahead of time. That inner core, 155, to put this in perspective, and I know it's not a one-to-one, that's the winds of an F2, F3 type tornado here. Very, very serious storm coming on shore out here in southwestern Florida.